Okay, so next question. Employers need to employ workers into older age. Does age discrimination stand in the way, e.g. pay less for workers closer to retirement and slowing down? Yes, I think that age discrimination in the workplace is going to be an ever more political issue and an important issue for employers. There is already a culture of ageism in the workplace, primarily because older workers are more expensive, and also in an increasingly digital workplace, it's much more challenging for older workers to move that from that shift from analog to digital. I think that there's a couple of things that companies can be doing on this front. I think the first is obviously tackling ageism and actually by example. So as good as, generational intelligence training and age diversity training is, that's just raising awareness. I think really importantly is to make sure that you're not discriminating in terms of your older employees, in terms of training, in terms of advancement, in terms of redundancy, in terms of opportunity, in terms of apprenticeships, and having a really age-neutral approach to your company. I think also having really good examples and role models of older learners, of older workers that are inspiring to perhaps your midlifers, I think is really important. I think setting up perhaps even like older employees networks within your company can be quite helpful, and allowing for that process I talked about in my talk about the downsizing of the career as something that is not seen as that is something in the individual employee's control. So it's not that you kind of gradually phase them out, but they make an active decision to do that. And there's a flexible and agile and creative approach to that. But I think all of this is in its infancy, but it's going to accelerate and need to be addressed in the next 10 years. So next question, is the insurance market in the UK evolving propositions to address social care needs? Wow, that's a great question, and I'm not sure I have an answer. I actually don't have an answer. I don't know about that, and I'm confident enough to, when I get given a question that I don't know, to say I don't know. But it is a fascinating question, because I think as we, in the next 10 to 15 years, evolve into a society where social care is as important as childcare provision, and we face up to those responsibilities, not just within our families and within our workplaces, but also within our political spaces. And industry itself comes to meet those needs. I think you're going to see, that shift happen very quickly. I think we talk about the ageing society and the social care crisis like it's a old people's problem, and to a certain extent it is, but actually to a large degree it's not. It's a young people's problem in respect to the care that they will have to provide for their elderly parents, in respect to the amount of money and tax that is going to have to go on prioritising older members of society, in terms of obviously the financial constraints on the NHS, in terms of the way in which, as we've talked about earlier, companies will have to shift their focus from what I think they're currently doing, which is very much preoccupied with young people, to really actually thinking creatively about their older workers. So I think we are in the embryonic stages of the challenges of the ageing society and what it poses for us all. And And I think it's almost too soon to tell what will be the answer in many respects. But as companies, I would start thinking about this stuff now, partly because you will have members of your employee base that are dealing with these issues personally, and it's good to be able to cater for them, even if they are the exception at the moment and not the rule. But it's also, I think, for your millennials, quite reassuring that you are at the forefront thinking about these demographic shifts that they know they're going to have to deal with. And if you are ahead of the game on this stuff, you will go a long way to reassuring them and their own fears. And I'm sure many people have this in the audience. I certainly do, of what to do, what that situation is going to look like for them as they take care of their parents in old age. And obviously, these policies have to be gender neutral and cannot just cater for female carers. And almost, I think, if we talked earlier on about mandatory paternity leave, we may have mandatory male elder care leave to ensure that it's not just women in their 50s and 60s who are doing the care for the elderly in society. Okay, well, thank you very much for your questions. I hope that's answered them in a comprehensive way, and I really look forward to watching companies respond and evolve on these issues. And as I said in my speech, do stay in touch. I have a fortnightly newsletter which is addressing constantly these themes of demographic shifts, generational changes, and the future of work. And do go on my website where you can see writings, reports, podcasts, and all sorts of information and resources should you wish to explore these issues further. Thank you very much.